Hello everybody! Time for another super janky deck here on MTGFL. This deck, as you have noticed, is called Red and Green Oops All Creatures. It's not strictly all creatures because we also have lands, but there is no other way to making it work. So, as you can see, there are 36 creatures, and there are some very nice cards that you really don't see every day. So let's take a look at the deck itself, and then we'll see how it actually performs. So first of all, we've got 24 lands. Most of them are forests. Then we've got some mountains. So gotta watch out for this glorious mountain from Summer Magic, of course. And there are more forests than mountains for the obvious reason that we have got some nice mana dorks, and we would like to have green mana in our starting hand more often than red. And of course there are 4 tigers. And what's the second best thing to a dual land? That is, of course, City of Brass. So naturally there is a place of Cities of Brass as well. And just in case, we've got this emergency thing that is Strip Mine, just in case our opponent has this Library of Alexandria out. I have mentioned mana dorks, and yes, we do have them, of course. So we have got great Birds of Paradise. It's definitely not an auto-include card for me, because it doesn't do much. Well, it can act as a chump blocker for flying creatures, but other than that, we very frequently can stabilize in a better manner. So I actually usually prefer Lone of Elves, because, you know, it's just 1 point of damage, and sometimes there is some strength in numbers if you are playing a deck with green. So here we have got both. And as you will see, it actually helps us quite a lot. Next, we've got the Pixies. Pixies is a card that I play very rarely, and that's actually my fault. I should pay more attention to it, because it's 2/1 for 2 mana, so essentially it's a Grizzly Bear, because 1 point of toughness doesn't really matter that much. And it cannot be blocked by artifact creatures, and damage dealt it by artifact creatures is reduced to 0. So essentially it's some kind of protection from artifact creatures, even though not exactly, because it can still be targeted by them. But as you understand, for instance, your Trike is not going to do any damage to them. So that's a nice card. Of course, it's mostly here to deal with Ubiquitous Mishras. Mishras can't block it, they can easily block Mishras and destroy them. So that's what it is. Then, just for the sake of mana curve, we have got a couple of Barbary Apes. Not Grizzly Bears, but Barbary Apes. Don't ask me why. I guess this is just the way I prefer it to be. Then we've got Urnum Djinn. So Urnum Djinn, 4/5 for 4 mana with mana acceleration, can be pretty fast, pretty fearsome. And what's good about Urnum Djinn is that he has got 5 toughness, so not many creatures can actually beat that. And yes, he is also highly splashable. That's a great card. We will take a look at a deck that is called Urnum Burnum. There is already a video of Urnum Geddon on this channel, even though without the gameplay, so I might come back one day to some of the decks. I might revisit them, maybe make a slightly different version, and also see them in action. Because many of you who are subscribed to this channel might not have seen some of the older videos that I have for the last 3 or 4 years, for instance. So next we've got Singing Tree. So Singing Tree is a very interesting card. Essentially, if you think about it, it's a sort of Maze of Ith, but not exactly. It's even better in some way, because it doesn't untap that creature, right? So reduces its power, and if you have got some sort of a stalemate situation, this card can actually help quite a lot. And sometimes, yes, it will just act as damage prevention, but sometimes it can decide some of the things in your favor. So a really, really nice card, actually. Singing Tree, super janky, but it can work. So speaking of other cards that are very strange and you don't see them every day, we've got Master of the Hunt. So Master of the Hunt, 2 mana, 2/2. By the way, there is a surprisingly huge amount of green creatures that have this double colorless and double green cost. And I don't know why it is so. And they are even, you know, alphabetically close to each other. It's insanely weird. But in any case, we've got only one of them here, of this double colorless and double green cost creatures. And for 2 and 2, so again, same cost as his, you will make a token. And what's even better is that you don't even have to tap this card, you know, unlike Boris Divilboon, for instance. We don't have a lot of token generation, so tokens are, I would say, highly valued in old school, so it's really not easy, it's not cheap to make tokens. But here you can even make a couple of tokens every turn if you've got 8 mana, and that's really cool. Yeah, it's only a 1/1 creature. It's essentially this wolf. Even though this looks like some kind of a shepherd dog, I don't know. I wouldn't call it a wolf, but that's fine. And what's even more interesting is that they can band with each other, but you know, only with each other. It's not just your pure banding, but it says that bands with other wolves. Okay, so we'll see how that works. Now, these 2 cards, these 2 brothers, I guess, don't even require any introduction. So Thicket Basilisk and Cockatrice. One of them is not strictly better than the others, I would say, because, well, Cockatrice flies while this guy doesn't, and they have the same stats. But on Thicket Basilisks we can put Lure, for example, and everybody will have to block him and be destroyed, whereas Cockatrice will not always be blocked by all creatures. But here it's somewhat irrelevant. I would say that in this deck, yes, Cockatrice is definitely more preferable. Next, we have got red creatures. So for red creatures, when we talk about red and green, what is a better creature than Curdape? Curdape, for a very long time, was considered to be a broken even card, a card that is too powerful. If you drop him on turn 1, even today in old school, while we know the metagame and a lot of things are optimized, this will definitely make your opponent sweat. And yeah, it's just a very, very good card, and its art is absolutely amazing. So yeah, Curdape, I do remember how I played in a pauper tournament, sleeveless, with Curdapes and also some other cards here. Great memories. It was Timmy's tournament. And yeah, so Curdape, what else can be said about it? It's a great, super efficient card, and yes, we will usually have this forest to make sure that he's 2/3 when he attacks on turn 2. Okay, Aladdin. Aladdin is a card I really, really recently discovered. I talked about it in one of my videos where I had a mono red deck in the Odal tournament. It was a special tournament, and what's good about Aladdin is that you may think that he works in the same way as, I don't know, for instance, Preacher. What's happening with my camera? Just a second. Yeah, so Aladdin doesn't work in the same way as Preacher does or Old Man of the Sea, because those cards, when they steal some permanent, for example, they steal a creature, what happens is that they remain tapped, right? So you only gain control of a card as long as this one is tapped. But here it doesn't say that. So you gain control of target artifact. So Aladdin steals an artifact, and after that you still have this artifact. So there is absolutely no limitation of keeping him tapped. You cannot even keep him tapped if you want to, by the way. So yeah, you lose control if he leaves play, or if you lose control of Aladdin. So yeah, he can steal a lot of artifacts. He can steal those Mishras that are attacking you, and yes, you do get to keep the Mishra, and you keep it as a land, of course. You can steal Moxen, you can steal a lot of good stuff. It's a great card, trust me. Of course, it's too bad that he has some very thin legs, but you know, he even has 1 point of attack. So yeah, he can smash people with this lamp, with the gene inside, I guess. And the same cannot be said about Ali from Cairo. He's only 0/1, so he cannot smash anybody with this amulet. Even though it's a gorgeous card, it's absolutely amazing, it's lovely. I have told you many times how much I love it. And yes, in this deck we're trying to use some utility creatures, since we cannot have any non-creature spells. And we're trying to just capitalize on some of the nice abilities that those creatures have. So we have, let's say, creatures as lands. We have got creatures as removal, I guess, creatures as protection, such as this. Yeah, this is what we're trying to do. Creatures as pump spells. As for Keldon Warlord, this is the second time I'm playing this card. The previous one was in a glorious Kobolds deck, which I definitely think we should revisit, which was a blue and red Kobold deck. But yeah, here, of course, as you understand, he is 1/1 himself. When you have 2 creatures, this will be 2/2. 3 creatures, he will be 3/3. And this is when it starts to pay off, because, you know, if you have 4 creatures, 4/4 for 4 mana without drawbacks, that's already not that bad in old school. And if we go further, this would actually start to bring a lot of benefits. Next, we've got the Absolute Hottie. That is, of course, Fire Elemental. No comment on that. No flavor text. I mean, no text except for flavor text. Great card. Great card. 5/4. Better than Earth Elemental for obvious reasons. And Shivan Dragon. Yeah, Shivan Dragon is the iconic card. You know, 6 mana. It doesn't seem that much, because we're really trying to survive until the time that we can cast him. So 5/5 flying, we will have a lot of red mana, so if we manage to swing with him, it will very often be for lethal. This great card, which is super random again, just makes me think about the randomness of Legends. Target creature gains +2/+2 until end of turn, flying. Why is it a green and red? Why does it fly? What is this? This is a some kind of a dinosaur skull devouring somebody in the mist. Why is it green and red? What is this? Who is Tuk Tuk? Or Tuk Tuk, I'm sorry, Tuknir Deathlock? Is he doing this kind of a deathlock on this? I don't know. I'm really confused. An explorer of the Aether often discovers himself in the most unusual physical realms. Who discovers himself in unusual physical realms? This skull or this guy? I don't know. This is all very strange. But yeah, it is not a bad card. It is not a bad card, because 2/2 flying for 4 mana and can pump, you know, +2/+2. This is unheard of. The only card that gives you +2/+2 on a regular basis would be Coral Helm, but for Coral Helm you must discard a card, so actually it's a very good thing. Next, we have got this Falconer, Celestian Falconer. It's a very evenly paced card, I would say, so it's fairly costed, right? 4/4, 5 mana. It's not bad at all, not bad at all. Add 2 to a mana pool for 2. Colorless, you can actually do quite a lot. So great mana accelerator guy. I even have 2 copies, but I don't know, put in more than 1 copy of a legend under those, you know, old rules. It seems weird. It seems weird. I don't do that usually. So yeah, we have got Stang here. Stang with his twin token comes into play. 3/4. They cannot live without each other. Makes sense. Good card overall. I like it. I like the art. I like the flavor. I like the effect, and overall it's just a very solid card. So the same cannot be said about this woman. It's really the first time I'm playing her, because, you know, it's just 5/5 for 6 mana. 5/5 for 6 mana is not exciting at all. And I mean, if you compare it to Shivan Dragon, who isn't even a gold card, you don't need to play another color, you don't need to commit to green in order to play him, then you will probably understand why this card is really disappointing. And finally, this guy, which we have already discussed in another video of mine, 6/5. Now 6/5 is something I like. This is something I can definitely pay for. So yeah, he's a legend. You've got this awesome by Andy Russo art, awesome art, right? This really old school feel. I love it. So there it is. This is the deck. 36 creatures. Let's see them in action right now. So let us start with our benchmark Lion Deep deck as an opponent. And to start with, we have got not a tremendously good beginning, but still keepable in my opinion. So our opponent begins with a Tundra and nothing, and we have got 2 mana dorks. So we'll try to start with the elves and see if our opponent lets us develop this board. I actually think some kind of disruption would work because it's a 3-color deck. And meanwhile, we will just keep developing our board. We have got 4 sources of mana on turn 3 without any Moxen or anything, so that's nice. And now we've got even 5. So there are a couple of things we can do. We can go for double Urgothian Pixies or the huge Urnum Djinn, which I think will be better. So let's go for Ernie. And attack with one of our elves, because there is no way it's going to block it and doesn't have mana for first strike. So here is Chaos Orb, and Chaos Orb didn't land. Where did it land? Okay. In any case, it didn't land on my creatures, so that's a good start already. And again, he's all tapped. He's all tapped, so let's just get wild here. Attack with all. Okay. And so far so good. We can definitely race our opponent. And this time, however, I will not attack because I don't want to lose my Land of our Elves to Mishras. Okay, so swing with these 2. And getting dangerously low for our opponent. Our opponent is dangerously low on life. And now we just have to keep swinging. Without the bird, of course, just crazy attacks. All of this stuff. 4. Okay, I've got 14. So, remember that the ability of Urnum can get activated on the same creatures. So if you have different instances of Urnum. And no matter what we do, we have won. I'm not even going to cast Shivan, which is an overkill here. So let's go to game 2 right away. And I guess that Mana Acceleration helped us. So here our opponent did bold the bird. Previously didn't have any removal in the previous game. So maybe there was some clever sideboarding. And here's the Pump Knight again. Still doesn't have the extra white mana. I don't know what's he thinking. So, no, I mean, what am I thinking? Because, yeah, he had to tap double blue, double white. I'm sorry, can't speak today. So, in any case, we will attack. Because, again, as you remember, we have to figure out who the bid down is in this situation. And I want my deck to be the bid down here. And, yeah, sadly going to take 2 damage for Urnum Djinn. But only Swords to Plowshares will be able to remove Urnum. So he is a force to be reckoned with. And since I'm kind of getting tired of losing life to Cities of Brass, I will do it for the last time. But getting 2 mana dorks here. So, okay, order, yeah, it's not going to be huge in any way. So I will not block. Not chum block. And okay, we can get Stang, right? Select mana to produce. Oh, sorry. So there was red or green. So yeah, we'll choose red and okay, just auto tap. Ooh, okay. This is not what I had in mind when I said auto, but okay. Okay, so here is this Stang twin. Again, they don't really match, sadly, but it is what it is. I mean, he doesn't really have to wear the same armor. But in any case, yeah. What I did is that I just made a token. That is the exact copy, only a mirrored one. So that's the Stang that I have. And look, our opponent is already afraid of attacking. For all of the right reasons. All of the right reasons. So let's go to Alpha Strike. Just crazy attack, get rid of everything, and we won again. We won again. So let's see. Line dip didn't stop our deck with a ton of creatures. So what can be a bit more problematic? So the artifact control deck, maybe? Let's try that. And yeah, actually, this is the different iteration of this deck than the one that I saw, the one that I showed you, I'm sorry, in the video, because there I didn't put Pendelhaven and Hammerheim. So yeah, it's a little bit of an oversight. As you understand, actually both of these legendary lands are somewhat useful, but then again, it even dilutes the deck itself, because here the idea is that we've got just mana and creatures, right? Because these are small utility lands. But doesn't matter that much. I mean, Pendelhaven can pump your Kurdape when Kurdape doesn't have a forest. It can pump even the Wolves of the Hunt that are made by the Master of the Hunt. Can pump Llanowar Elves, of course. And Hammerheim can remove Land Walk when you use your Urnam Jinn's drawback. So anyway, what can we do? We can play Grizzly Bears. Again, here I had Grizzly Bears to just dilute the stuff a little bit. So I did have Grizzly Bears and the Barbary Apes. So yeah, speaking of apes, let's get this one. And let's get the bird. So yeah, just in case I let... Whoa, okay, didn't use Maze of Ith. So, you know, when such things happen, I start to get suspicious, because I think that our opponent doesn't really know how to play Magic, and it always undermines all of my efforts of showing that the deck that I'm playing is more or less viable, because it wasn't, you know, it wasn't completely annihilating our opponent, so our opponent did fight back. You know, I'm trying to show that it's not a 100% gold fishing exercise. But yeah, sometimes it fails, sometimes it fails. Okay, I guess no reason to play the second game, because as I have told you sometimes, there is this thing that is called personality of AI, and sometimes, I don't know, maybe I should research this a little bit better, because of course normally the opponent does use a Maze of Ith, so I don't actually know what's wrong with that. And okay, so maybe we can play against Black Weenie. So Black Weenie is one of the more devastating decks. So let's see. Okay, so we don't have turn 1 him to Torak, so already not that scary. And here are these guys. Again, I technically even think that our creatures must be better than our opponent's creatures. Just overall. But we'll see. Because I don't have Bad Moon. I don't have a lot of ways to make the creatures bigger. Okay. So, okay, here's the hymn. Here is the hymn. Right. Still, I think we've got the advantage just on board. Okay. And yes, I will, of course, have to block. Order is here. And we've got Stang. So I think we're in a good position. So yeah, we can even attack with Kurdape, because he cannot both pump and give first strike. So that's something. Alright. And now there's Draenor. Oh yeah, so Kurdape actually is my strongest creature. Guess what? Alright. Well, let's attack with both of these guys. There's nothing our opponent can do against them. So, okay, here is what I'm going to do. Block like this, and since we have the glorious singing tree, we will even activate. So, okay, we have declared blockers, and then we will tap and neutralize our opponent's order. So that's nice, right? So 1 tree to negate the 2 attackers. Okay, so end of turn. Oh, again, it did auto tap the mana. So I got the City of Brass damage. And look, here are Wolves of Hunt. Again, they look absolutely nothing like those guys. Well, I don't know. It doesn't matter, of course, but these inconsistencies are slightly annoying to me personally. That's why, if there is no original token from back in the day, then I just prefer to print out my own tokens, which sometimes can be just based on the card art. Sometimes they can be even not highly relevant, but it's all about the flavor for me. So let's swing with everything. And we have got 2 points of life that our opponent has, and we win again. So let's look at the last deck. Well, I'm not even going to do anything like the deck, because again, AI just doesn't work well against those swarm decks, as they were called some time ago. And okay, so yeah, let's just keep this somewhat unkeepable hand to give AI a chance, because, you know, I feel somewhat like fooling myself, I would say, when I play like this. So okay, perfect. We've got terrible hand. Yeah, I don't think I will be able to recover from that. So this deck is actually overall not easy to beat. So even though it's not a mainstream deck or anything, I absolutely love it. It's really, really cool. You have got regenerating guys. You have got hypnotic, so that's scary. You have got, okay, 1 extra mana. Oh yeah, I didn't have the right mana. Should have tapped card ape. Ah, okay. Yeah, but in any case, what I'm saying is that this is just a surprisingly good deck, and the AI is actually quite good at playing it. So like this, can we? Yeah, okay. So big guys are coming here. But 3/4 again. The thing is that our opponent doesn't have enough mana for regeneration. I mean this one, but then Maze of Faith. Okay, so just to prove that the opponent is actually capable of using Maze of Faith, I'm going to attack and see if. Oops. Okay. Yes. Okay. Regeneration. Yes, both guys are dead. Right, I shouldn't have done that. And to boot, there is the disc. So the disc is not something we can easily fight against. Okay. So here's the question. Is he going to blow up the disc? One more clay statue. Okay. Attack with these. Maybe. Okay, what do we see? And here's the disc. Okay, so it's a total reset. Our opponent didn't use the regeneration properly. And what's even worse is that we have got Mishra's Factory. While we will be able to block it, I think that disc is going to be activated soon. So that's interesting. Is he going to do Maze of Faith? No. Oh, he doesn't use Maze of Faith. That's a disgrace. Well, if I win now, then I officially pronounce Forge useless. Okay, at least we didn't win. But you know what? We didn't lose either, because there is Ali from Cairo. Ali from Cairo saves the day. Ali from Cairo is doing his thing, you know, as it was written in the Chandlar game. So when Ali from Cairo prevents damage, you have to manually prevent each of the sources of damage, I think. And yeah, it just said in the game text, Ali from Cairo is doing his thing. Okay, so Ali from Cairo is doing his thing again. Well, it will take a long time. Now, the biggest question is, what comes first? Will it be the disc or some creatures? I mean, at least a couple of attackers that we should have. But again, who knows whether Maze of Ith is something that the opponent is going to use. Okay, so this time doesn't even attack. Oh my god. No, this is useless. This is useless. What's the point? What's the point of playing this game if AI cannot use Maze of Ith? AI cannot read cards. Because again, as I have told you, this definitely works. This definitely works, but on mobile. So on mobile, AI is different, I guess. And some things works better, some things work much worse. Maybe I have to update the version here, because it's definitely not how it should be. Well, you know, I started with a terrible hand, and we still won. And in most ways, because of the stupidity of AI. Okay, so a lot of my lands were destroyed. And now let's think whether we should commit to the board any further. Let's try not to commit now. Well, maybe one more Pixies. Okay, yeah, that was the tipping point for AI. Okay. So things are not so good. I might actually be losing for a change. But I want to show you Aladdin in action. How Aladdin will steal the dreaded Mishra. And yeah, we have exactly 3 mana that we need for that. Okay. So activate Mishra, and guess what? Mishra doesn't belong to you anymore. And of course he didn't attack after that. And okay, destroy Mishra's factory. That's nice, that's nice. So what I like about this situation is that Aladdin, if he is of course going to stay alive, can steal a lot of good stuff, such as clay statue. Or even he can steal the disc. So that's actually very important, because the disc, as you understand, cannot be activated right away. So we'll always have a chance to steal the disc, provided of course that we have enough mana. Now, we have to think a little bit, because we're dangerously low. We don't have Ali from Cairo. We're playing against a deck that actually runs Drain Life, which is also something that shouldn't be ignored. And I'm just thinking what can be done. So maybe we can start attacking with the creatures we shouldn't even have in the first place. And yeah, okay, I will regenerate. In that case, I won't be able to steal. Well, okay, it doesn't matter. Let's just say that this way we removed our opponent's creature. Okay, so let's steal Mishra. 1 point of damage again. Ooh, okay, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, now, the good question is, should we speed things up a little bit? We can get the Falconeer, so then we get 1 point of damage. But I mean, we have to think about it logically, because what's the difference between 3 and 2? There isn't much difference, right? 3, 2, and 1 essentially doesn't get any different, right? Because you have to keep track of, being 4, for example, when you are in Psyblast's reach. You have to understand whether you are going to go down to 3, which puts you in Lightning Bolt reach, which is even more important. But here our opponent only has Drain Life as direct damage, and no matter how much life we have, whether it's 3 or 2, we are still dead to Drain Life as soon as it's there. So yeah, I think we can attack. So Maze of Ith is ignored again. Maybe one more Curd Ape. Like with these two guys. Okay. And yeah, we are slowly building the board. 3 guys attacking. 8. Okay. Can we finish our opponent with Shivan? I think that would be a beautiful thing to do. Shivan it is. 1, 2, 3 attackers. Isn't it dangerous? Well, okay, maybe let's keep 1 Curd Ape, just in case. Just in case. Oops, okay, we lost. But now we must play. So yeah, as I said, drain life. Our opponent probably just top deck drain life quite recently. So again, as you see, I don't mulligan here because, again, to give a little bit of a handicap. What did I do? I skipped the main phase where I was supposed to drop the forest over here. But that's fine. Okay, here is Hypnotic Spectre. Now, this is definitely something I don't want to see. And now, if only I could make sure that he doesn't discard if Biffifrit. And there is no way to do that. And yeah, whew. Okay, so good. Ifrit didn't get discarded. And neither did the only 4th source of mana that we had in hand, which is City of Brass. So, okay. Well, that's fine. I can take this damage. And now we have to think a little bit. Okay, maybe put Berber Apes. I don't know. Is this overcommitting to the board? Okay, so no way am I going to attack with the Ifrit. 7. So our opponent is actually dangerously low on life. Okay. Now, here's an interesting question. We've got 3. I mean, our opponent has got 3 blockers. We have 4 attackers. So in any case, he's not going to block if Biffifrit. And then we need 2 more points. Because remember the ability. We can actually go as high as we want to. Doesn't have to be 3. I mean, we can just activate all of those things in response, as long as we have enough mana. And even if the Ifrit dies, as a result, still possible. So that's a great card, actually. Very good card. Very fairly costed, and I personally was kind of underrating it for a long time. But okay, in any case, let's just swing with all. See what there is. Okay, yeah, bad idea. Bad idea, actually. But okay, that's what it is. And you know what? I'm actually more than happy with this. So let's do 2 damage. And if we manage to untap... No, we don't manage to untap. When I say if we manage to untap with the Ifrit, then we win. But no, not yet. Yeah, I don't know. I think Fire Elemental should be here. Just for aesthetic purposes, okay? Just for aesthetic purposes. And now, of course, we cannot ignore the fact that we have to do something with Hypnotic, so there is Cockatrice for you. And yeah, our opponent can, of course, still use Clay Statue, which I think is what he will do. So, okay, I will not attack. Oh, there's Chaos Orb. Chaos Orb lands on the glorious Fire Elemental, who sadly didn't have a chance to participate in combat. But the good news is that we took out the annoying Hypnotic Spectre, and he's not even that annoying now. And everything has been wiped now. One more disc. Okay, so that's a reset from our opponent. Again, didn't use... Okay, just in case, because this is what I must do. I know that my opponent is not using the Maze of Ith, but still. And okay, let's play this. What do we see here? Okay, keep attacking. He's going to blow up the disc next turn. Yep. Yeah, let's do Singing Tree. Oh, disc again? Disc again, but we have Aladdin. So, okay, that's an interesting question. Will we steal the disc? Will our opponent let us steal the disc or blow it up as a response? Ooh, okay. Look, I like it, I like it. Okay. Very interesting, very unpredictable, I would even say. So, what should we do now? Attack with Singing Tree? I don't know. What if we attack with Singing Tree? What if we bait our opponent into activating Mishra's factory? Ooh, okay. Yeah, I know. It's not fair. It's not fair to be doing so. It's definitely not fair. And yeah, for some reason, of course, he felt the need to block. But who knows? Maybe I have giant growth here, right? So that's fair overall. And oh, there is one more hypnotic. Not what I want to see, honestly. But let's attack with Mishra and trade. Okay, that's fair, I guess. Live from Cairo. Here we go. So, yeah, we cannot attack with anyone. I mean, but wait, we can. So Aladdin, and Land of Our Our opponent only has 1 point of life. So we actually win. Hooray, we won. Again, I lost one. No, I lost one game. Should have lost more, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. Thank you very much for watching. Somewhat disappointing AI, but I hope that you like the deck, and I will see you soon. Bye.